citizens not being able to communicate with the outside world. Recently, Nigeria blocked social media, which has affected small business owners, and they mainly rely on the internet to do business. This can also affect access to services. To discuss, we're joined from Nairobi by Kennedy Wandera, chairperson of the Foreign Press Association. Mr. Wandera, thank you for being with us. Let's start with the claims in Zambia that internet services, even WhatsApp, was affected. Were you following that situation closely?
Yeah, thank you, Francis. It is really embarrassing because Zambia now becomes the second country after Uganda in 2021 to restrict internet. And it is increasingly becoming more common for governments to shut down the internet and even restrict access. And like I'm saying, this is quite embarrassing because you will expect that it will be easy for people to know what is happening in their countries, but it is really not happening.
Yeah.
So what I can say is that this kind of censorship is gaining momentum, and we've seen it in Uganda during January 14th election, presidential election, where the internet service providers were ordered to shut down social media platforms. We've also seen it in Tanzania during its presidential election in October 2020, where the government restricted access to the internet and social media platforms. Now, some Tanzanians are using virtual private network to access internet. And even it happened also in June 2020 in Ethiopia, where the government shut down the internet during the month-long protest following the killings of the prominent Oromo singer Hachalu Hundessa. And it has happened in Zimbabwe, Togo, Burundi, Chad, Mali, and Guinea. So having at least 16 African countries that have restricted internet is quite embarrassing and shameful.
Yeah, I can't believe how long the list of countries you've just spoken about is. We also saw disruptions in Eswatini, and I think it was there that MTN admitted that at the request of the government, it had cut off services. So this raises an ethical issue for the companies as well. Should they follow the governments? But if they don't do business in the country, so it's pretty difficult.
Absolutely. It's a catch-22 situation because these internet service providers are given access and permits to work in their respective countries by governments of these countries. So it is increasingly difficult for even them not to hit the government's order, because should you go ahead and defy the government's order, then you will be stripped of that particular permit to work in that particular country. And just like it has happened in Zambia, and it happened sometimes back in Ethiopia, where the costs are coming in to restrain the government from doing such. I think now that is the new battlefront, because internet service providers defying government's order, it will not work for them.
Yeah, and of course, like you've said, it affects small businesses. It affects journalism. So it affects the ability of journalists to do their work and a free press to function. Do citizens find ways to get around the restrictions, or are they simply hamstrung? And is it good news that despite what happened in Zambia, we see an opposition leader coming in, despite what the government tried to do around the internet?
Yeah, and for the case of Zambia is a unique one, because you've seen Zambia government trying to restrict the opposition from moving from one place to the other to campaign. And they've brought entirely the whole campaign on social media via Twitter and Facebook. And that has been seen as an avenue where the young people are. And a country like Zambia, where the young people have shown interest in their country, you realize that they depend on the internet. So curtailing such kind of access really impedes what they do. But again, journalists struggle to work. We've seen that in Uganda, we've seen that in Tanzania, we are seeing it in Zambia. And such restrictions impede work of journalists. Yeah, other than just impeding the work they do, it also undermines the safety and access to information. It will not be possible at all without the internet in these countries for a journalist to find stories and even send them outside these countries' borders. So it is difficult, and we are also seeing it as one way of trying to, of course, negate the principles of media freedom the whole concept of censorship is an affront to press freedom.
Yeah.
And it will be good. It will be good that this government under AU really operate in a way that is going to help the young people or the people in their country, the citizens, to access information. But again, there is also similarity in these countries that are trying to restrict internet because the incumbents are seeking to stay longer in power. And it is not working for them because now we saw even in Zimbabwe the other time.
Yeah.
We've seen it in Malawi, where the young people are now coming up and saying this is no. But like I indicated, in countries like Zambia, Uganda, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Zimbabwe, Togo, Mali, Chad, Guinea, and Sudan, it is increasingly becoming a common trend. But we will continue also to rally the international organization and even the African Union to rein on these regimes because it is embarrassing and shameful.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I was going to throw in that question, but you've already answered it, saying that the AU should take a stance against governments that restrict access to information for their own citizens. Thank you very much. That was Kennedy Wandera, chairperson of the Foreign Press Association.